What's up YouTube, PokePrimer here, finally made to deliver you for the ILCB, the International League of Competitive Battling. So basically, Jen from the IPBL decided she wanted to start her own league, just, something fun to do on the side. So I was like, hey, you know what, I'll join, why not, I'll hop in. So, we just had our draft today, which, by the way, first time that I've ever had a draft that literally only took one day to do. It was very, very, very nice. Very solid group of people. Really good stuff. So I'm really hyped about that. Yeah, I just kind of went into this draft and decided I would just kind of wing it. I really wanted to just wing it. I haven't done that in a long time. But, I figured, yeah, why not do it? It was totally worth it. Hell, fuck it. I can just mess around and see what I can get and try out a whole bunch of new mons that I haven't used before in the draft league. So we went with that. I went with that mindset, and basically the way they were running it is 3 mons from any tier, and you could pick them at any time. So that was a really cool idea. I like it. It gives you a little bit more breathing room to kind of pick whatever you find to be most useful at that time, and just kind of build around it, which is really cool. And to start things off, I wanted to grab my Mega. So first round, right off the bat, I decided I wanted to scoop up my Mega, and that is going to be Puff the Magic Dragon Mega Altaria. Mega Altaria is not a Pokemon that I've used very commonly. It's not too common that I get a chance to use it, but I'm really excited to finally get a chance to do so, because Mega Altaria is very good. Its Dragon Fairy typing is very powerful, very good overall. Not too many things can break through it. It's a very solid wall, very hard to break through. Can be extremely bulky. And can be run both physically and specially with having base 110 attack and special attack. So let me just drop the 30 in there just for the hell of it. But it's got a lot of natural bulk, a lot of offensive prowess, and the Pixelate ability makes things that much more terrifying, giving it boosted stab returns, boosted stab hyper voices. A lot of really powerful moves coming out of this mon that are going to really nuke opposing teams, depending on what set I decide to bring each week, and if I decide to bring it at all. But overall, Mega Altaria is a really solid start to the team that I'm really happy with. And at that point, I kind of also wanted to grab my Steel type really early on in the draft, and this is going to lead to the only issue I have with my draft. One of the only issues I really have with it, despite the fact that I got sniped like 3,000 times. But I wanted to grab my Steel type, and I was really juggling between Heatran and one other mon. And I'd used Heatran before, so I kind of wanted to use something I haven't used yet. And so I decided to grab up Thornberry the Ferrothorn. And literally, this thing's just so interesting, such a good mon. There's really a lot of potential with this thing. Even though it's slow as shit, and it really is slow, it's not meant to be fast. It just isn't. It's meant to be just this solid, bulky monster of a wall that can essentially just come in and knock some heads. You don't want to touch it because, Iron Barbs is going to cause some damage. This thing can run pretty much any item and make it viable. I've seen people run weird sets like Swords Dance or something like that. It can do other things, but it also sets up hazards for me. It sets up Stealth Rocks, it sets up spikes, which is really awesome. I do like that. It can be a status spreader, a knockoff for utility. A lot of really interesting moves packed in on this Thornberry here that I'm really excited to test out. And who knows? Ferrothorn could be a really good member of our team. I'm really excited about it. Now, going into my next pick, I was thinking in my head, I don't have a grass type yet. I want to start building my Firewater Grass core. Completely forgetting the fact that Ferrothorn is Park Grass type, so My biggest issue with my draft is the fact that I drafted 2 grass types in OU, but I drafted my 3rd OU pick next, mainly as a way of responding, because Ronnie, who's also in this league, hi Ronnie, been a while, but Ronnie, who's also in this league, he decided he wanted to grab Ludicolo early on, and it's a really good Pokemon, but I wanted to give him shit about it. But he was just constantly bragging about how great Ludicolo was. And if you guys remember recently on the channel, we had our Week 4 match from the PFL, where we took on, where we actually faced off against Scott and the Thriller Bark Trevenant, who had a the words are escaping my brain, a Ludicolo on the team, and the one Pokemon on our team that was able to switch around it and not really have to worry about it was, in fact, you got it, Ramen the Tangrowth. Gonna be packing that regen all the time. I grabbed Tangrowth because I do love Tangrowth. It's such a good, powerful, diverse mon. You can run it physical or special. It's extremely bulky. You can run this. Typically, you run this thing assault vested because it has so many different moves it can run on its move set that you can definitely take advantage of that, which is really cool. I'm really excited about it. This thing is really awesome. Just so much bulk. Regen makes it so useful. And overall, I just think Tangrowth is a really powerful mon for the team, and I'm really excited about it. So, I'm just happy to have Tangrowth on the squad, man. Tangrowth is like an MVP of like so many different leagues for me right now. It just does so much work. So, hopefully it can do work here as well. The next mon that I drafted wasn't my first pick. I wanted Milotic very badly. But one of our other members, who likes to refer to herself as Lamb, little Lamb, she decided that she wanted Milotic, like, minutes before me. And I was like, hey, that's not nice. You shouldn't take things that other people want. That's very mean. That's kind of rude. But no, she got Milotic literally like right before I would have got Milotic. So that's really unfortunate. So I was really upset about that, but I decided, you know what, I was going to be that guy. And I am that guy quite a few times. I decided to be that guy, and I decided to draft Scumcoon the Suicune. The thing that the bane of the existence in the IPBL, the thing that is the bane of everyone's existence ever. This thing is the definition of fat water types. That just, like, Crocoon is such a good set, it's so common, but the thing about it is, despite the fact that it's extremely common, it works. More often than not, it works. Which is crazy to think. But almost every time I see it used, every time I see Crocoon brought to the table, it works very well. So, yeah, this thing is going to put in insane levels of work for our team, and it's just so hard to prep for Suicune. Just Suicune itself requires such specific prep. So it's absolutely it's such a oh, I'm just so happy. Oh man. Just so happy. So happy to have Suicune. I'm just so happy. I have no other words to express. I'm like speechless. I'm just done. I just can't handle. We need to move on. We need to move on. You guys can just stare at Suicune for a few minutes. Just stare at Suicune. Alright, I'm gonna stop now. I just keep blanking on Suicune because it's just so good. Oh, so good. Oh, so good. But, yeah, so we have our next draft pick. I wanted to finish out my Firewater Grass core. And I wanted a new Fernape because... And I decided, you know, looking at the rest of UU, I knew I wanted a UU. I didn't want Entei because I've used it before. And I wanted to use something that I haven't used, so I decided, hey, why not go with Pocket Poop Senior, the Darmanitan. Because Darumaka's poop is put in the pockets, I wonder if the old people use Darmanitan poop. That's probably some very big poop, so probably not. But Darmanitan is here. Darmanitan is here. Sheer Force Darmanitan. And yes, before anyone says anything, I will actually have a week where I use Zen mode. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to use Zen mode Darmanitan. I'm going to do Sub-Belly Salak, Sub-Belly Drum Salak, Berry, Zen mode Darm. So I can get myself down to a low enough amount of HP. That works. As long as I can be sub. I need to be sub in order to do it, but I'm going to try to do it once. But yeah, Pocket Poop Senior's here. This thing is Wall Breaker Extraordinaire, based on 140 attack with Sheer Force and stab moves that get boosted by Sheer Force. That's delicious. That's just delicious, nutritious, disgusting damage that is going to dish out to things. And not too many things switch into it. In fact, I have one of the things right here that switches into it. So this thing is going to be a huge threat to the rest of the league. No one's going to be able to properly handle this thing. And I'm going to have to turn my lamp on because it is getting late. But no one's going to be able to properly handle this thing. I guarantee that. And I'm really excited to use Darmanitan because it's not necessarily the most diverse Pokemon, but it's a case of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And Darmanitan just ain't broke. This thing's going to put in some crazy work for me this season, I think, and I'm looking forward to getting a chance to use him for once. Because I never really get a chance to use him in Draft League, so you know what? Darmanitan, welcome to the squad. The next mon I decided to go with was purely out of spite, because I've been sniped so many times at this point. It was purely out of spite. I was like, you know what? I don't need friends. So I drafted Bulk. I drafted more Bulk. As if Mega Altaria, Ferrothorn, Tangrowth, and Suicune weren't bulk enough, I drafted more Bulk in Cresselia. Moonduck is here. You guys know what Moonduck does. It just sits there, eats hits. I literally have one ground weakness on my team, and 3 mons so far that can or 2 mons that resist it, or / immune to it, and a lot of bulky mons that don't care about it. This thing right here is the definition of fat. It's not only fat, but it can set up and do work, which is a scary thing to deal with, and nobody really is prepared for me using Cresselia. So yeah, pretty lit. Pretty lit. So I'm really this team's looking very fat. This team's looking very fat, and I like it. I like fat teams because it's hard to beat them because they're just good. And a lot of these fatter mons can set up and sweep teams. So bulky setup sweepers are the name of the game here. But sadly, with all this bulk, doesn't come much speed. In fact, we have nothing that breaks base 100 yet, and I also don't have anything that can volt switch. So I decided I was going to dig down to NU, actually PU, I'm pretty sure. Dig down into the low tiers to scoop up my first NU pick, which ended up being Boom Bye the Electrode. Brief insert of Shizzy music. Beautiful. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Love it. Love it. Favorite song by Shizzy. Shizzy, love me. Notice me. But no, it's that I will probably insert Shizzy's song in there as many times as possible. I will also link Shizzy's channel and everything in the description. You can go there and check everything out, and go buy his, or not buy, go download his free album. It's really lit. One of the best rappers on the planet today, period, and discussion. Check him out, please. Do it. Please do. He's good. He's great. Yes. But no, base 140 speed, Electrode that's enough said. Like, look at this. Base 100 is capped out at 328. 52 speed is all I need to outspeed a base 100. That's it. 361 for base 115s. How about I just invest 184 speed? This thing is so fast. So fast. I believe that actually outspeeds base 125s as well. At 379, I believe it does. Hold on, let me calc that real quick. Nope, it does not. It is close, though. It is close. Jolly Max speed Weavile would outspeed us. But we're, like, on the cusp of outspeeding it without going timid. If we go timid, we just break the game. Bam. There it goes. We just disappeared. We're too fast. Too fast for you. But Electrode is cool. Electrode's a fast volt switcher. It can blow up if I wanted it to. It's got no attack stat. It's not going to blow up. Maybe. If I just bring it like Adamant Bandit Explosion, maybe. I'll try it 1 week. We'll see what happens. If I don't like need a 6th Mon 1 week, I'll bring Adamant Bandit Explosion, but we'll see what happens. But this thing's got Magic Coat, which is cool. This thing can set up Light Screen, which is interesting. Signal Beam, it gets Sucker Punch, Taunt, super fast Taunter, T-Wave, Toxic Volt Switch. This thing can do a lot of interesting moves. This thing has a lot of interesting moves that are very, very intriguing. And I'm really excited to use this thing, actually. What other ability does it have? Static and Soundproof. Interesting. Interesting abilities. I like that. We can work with that static shit. I might work with that static shit. That's never gonna happen. I'm never gonna run static. You got me fucked up. If you think I'm running static, that's some dumb shit. But oh man, I mean, this thing is so good. This thing's just so good. It gets mirror coat. What? We're gonna have to fuck with that. We're gonna fuck with that. Electrode's really cool. Electrode's a really cool Pokemon, and I'm kind of hyped to use it. You know, I've never really fucked with Electrode competitively at all, so this is gonna be my chance to test Electrode out, see what happens. So I'm kind of hyped. You can always hit up my buddy Stibe. He used Electrode in one of the fellow seasons, I believe, and he did very well with it. So I'm gonna have to hit him up and see if he's got any strats, any pro strats with this thing. But on my next pick, I realized I wanted to start grabbing some hazard removal, some hazard removal, and my girlfriend was sitting right there. My girlfriend was sitting right there, and I was just kind of like thinking, yeah, I kind of want her represented here. You know what? I'm gonna do that. So I saw a defogger sitting there. It was just too good, and her favorite animals are bats, and you already know where I'm going. My first RU pick is Golbat. Breathe the Golbat. I specifically have to make sure this thing is female all the time. I'm gonna keep it its regular colors though. But Golbat is great because with Eviolite and everything, it's super duper fat. Gets access to defog, Brave Bird. I could run a bulky, nasty bat set. Like, there's a lot of different options that I can do with Golbat that makes this thing very, 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 very viable. I just really like Golbat. I don't know, I've never really gotten a chance to use Golbat in League format. I'm really excited to do so. So hopefully this thing will pan out and do very well for me. I'm not one who usually does too many free agency switches, even if my team's not that great, just so you guys know. So this is probably going to be the team that sticks it out for the majority of the season. So just so you guys are aware of that, this is probably going to be the team you're going to be seeing for a while. Which is cool as hell, because I like this team. I just want to really mess around with this team. I want to test some things out. The next Mon that I have drafted was my Rapid Spinner for the team, because I did need one of those. Just because I got a defogger doesn't mean I want to ignore the Rapid Spin, because that's really useful to have both on this team. So I decided I wanted a Rapid Spinner. I also needed Stab Earthquake, and I knew there was only one other place I could get that. No, it's not Claydol. It is Knuckles. Knuckles. The Sand Slash, the Echidna Pokemon. They did decide to ban Sand Veil because of evasion clause and whatnot, so I am running Sand Rush pretty much every week, even though it's going to be like pretty much useless considering nobody drafted Sand. Wait, nobody drafted Sand? What? Nobody drafted Sand. I'm so upset. So upset nobody drafted a Sand team. But Knuckles is here. It's going to be our Rapid Spinner for the team. It gets Stab, Earthquake, which is dope. Knock off for utility purposes. It gets a nice, decent amount of coverage moves. It's another potential Stealth Rocker to kind of take the pressure off of Thornberry a little bit, which is nice as well. It gets Super Fang, which is really, really good for utility purposes. A lot of really good potential things for Knuckles to do. Plus, with a base 100 attack and base 110 defense, it's actually really, really decent. Got a lot of physical bulk, really good physical wall. Can take a lot of hits. A really, really good Pokemon overall, and just in general, like a really, really good Pokemon. So I'm really excited to use Mr. Knuckles here on the team. Got a lot of potential to do a lot of good things, especially because since it's a hazard remover that is not weak to any hazards. So that's awesome. Nobody drafted Sticky Webs either. I just noticed that. That's cool. But at this point in the draft, I kind of wanted to start finishing out some of my tiers. I had two RU picks and an NU pick remaining, so I wanted to get RU done and over with. At this point, I just kind of was throwing out picks left and right, and I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna mess around a little bit. I want to represent some of my musical taste in here. I already represented some of the rap music with Shizzy, with the Shizzy pick with Boom Bye Bye on Electrode. So I decided I wanted to represent some of my metal side. So I decided to draft, not using his first name, we're going to go with the last name, Carlisle of Mice and Men, in the form of Exploud. He likes to scream. So does Austin. It's pretty lit. This thing is literally just gonna have like this. That's it. That's all I need every week. Boom burst. Boom. There it is. Boom burst is gonna come through. We're gonna punch holes everywhere, left and right. This thing is a monster. And not only that, but its coverage is so decent. Blizzard, Focus Blast, Extra Sensory, Fire Blast. Gets frickin' Ice Beam. Gets Overheat. Gets Shadow Ball. Gets the Scrappy ability so you can punch holes through ghost types with the Boom Bursts. It's such a good Pokemon. Really is a good mon. Really just a well-built Pokemon, and it has a lot of potential to just ruin lives. Like Exploud's really terrifying against not the majority of teams. So I'm really excited to see what Exploud can do for the team. And hopefully, Exploud can, you know, put in work. I think it can. I think there's a lot of teams that don't. A lot of teams I'm looking at so far that don't really have anything that stops Exploud from doing what Exploud does. Essentially, like nothing that really just says, "Hey, Exploud, you should stop screaming at us." Like now. Like nothing really essentially does that. Maybe one or two mons a team, and that's like they don't do it well. And like certain sets of Exploud just beat it. So we're gonna have to really mess around with Exploud to make him work, but I think we definitely can. I think we definitely can make it work. Is the schedule updated yet? It is updated. Yes, it is. Beautiful. That's another league document. That's another bridge. We don't want that. So after I drafted Carlisle here, I had one more RU pick, and I was looking through my mons. I was like, do I already have a flying type, but I don't have a rock type, and I kind of want something else that's fast. I literally still only have one mon that's above base 100. I want another one, and I want one that's physical. I figured that was my best bet. I do already have a Volt Turn Core in the form of Darmanitan, Golbat, and Electrode. But I kind of wanted something that really could hit hard and fast. So I actually drafted RAR XD, the Aerodactyl. I only named it RAR because Bree just yelled out RAR in the background, and I was like, actually kind of cute. I like that, so we're going to go with it. But RAR XD here is super fast, base 130 speed, really fantastic speed stat. Speed ties with things like Jolteon, so it's a lot of potential with that right there. Really has a lot of good. It's a really good move pool. Aqua Tail, Crunch. It's another potential defogger, which is really cool. I actually didn't even know that. Dragon Claw? What? It gets Dragon Claw? Cool. Earthquake. Fire Fang. Got Ice Fang, Iron Head. Pursuit Trap things. We can use Return if we need to. Stone Edge, it's a Stealth Rocker as well. Gets Roost for longevity purposes. Taunt, Toxic, Tailwind. Tailwind Aerodactyl. That's kind of wild. It can set up with Hone Claws, which I do intend on doing at least once. So we'll see what happens. But I really like... What's your shiny look like? I'm going to go through and shinify the ones I'm going to keep shiny. I don't like your shiny, by the way. But I really like the idea of using Aerodactyl. I think it's got a lot of potential. And yeah, I think it has a lot of potential, and I'm really excited to use it. I've never really seen it used all that well in Draft League format. Sometimes in the form of Mega Aerodactyl, but not so much in regular Aerodactyl form. So I'm really excited to see what goes down with this thing. I'm really kind of hype. So we'll see what happens. So yeah, that's Aerodactyl for you. And our last mon, I wanted a Spin Blocker. I knew I needed a Ghost type, and I only had one NU pick left. Mismagius was sniped for me. Mismagius was going to be my pick because I wanted one more mon above base 100, but I couldn't do that. So I decided I was going to be a scumbag. And I decided to draft more bulk. And that bulk comes in the form of Toss Me the Dusclops. And this name is very specific. It is a reference to the anime because the beautiful creature known as Ash, who is oh Lord, what a dick. Ash is terrible. Ash is just terrible because during his time in the Battle Frontier, once he got his final battle against the Battle Pyramid Frontier Brain, what's his face, Brandon, he had his Charizard use Seismic Toss on Dusclops, and duh, it didn't work. So basically he just kind of, you know, got wrecked, and Charizard did nothing and got blown back by a Dusclops. So yeah, that happened. But I just thought that was a really funny nickname because I really couldn't come up with any other nicknames for Dusclops. If I do come up with any others, then I'll change it and you guys will be aware. But Dusclops is really awesome because it's fat. It's fat and it carries an Eviolite, so it's extra fat. So there's a lot more fat here. There's a lot more fatness here, and it just doesn't die. Like if you build the right spread for Dusclops, this thing just doesn't die. Dusclops is great in that sense, and moves like Pain Split work really well with it because even though it's very fat, it has a really low HP stat. So with moves like Pain Split, it can gain back a lot of HP while also taking back a large chunk off of your opponent, who might have like like 100 points or so higher HP than Dusclops. Like you can even Pain Split on switch-ins, and mons that are you know, have higher HP stats, their HP is going to drop like a rock. And while your HP is not going to change, their HP just gets decimated, which is awesome. So I really like the idea of using Dusclops. I think it's a really, really solid Pokemon. You can burn things with Will-O-Wisp, pick things off with Shadow Sneak. Destiny Bond is an option, I believe. You do get Destiny Bond, you do. It can set up Calm Minds as well. It can set it can just do so many things. I love Dusclops a lot. It's a really great Pokemon. So I'm really excited to test this thing out in the League format. So with that is our draft right there. That disgusting mess of Pokemon is my draft. Just a quick recap for those of you who decide to skip to the end. We have Puff the Magic Dragon, the Mega Altaria, Thornberry, the Ferrothorn, Ramen, the Tangrowth, Scumcoon, the Suicune, Pocketpoop Sr., the Darmanitan, Moonduck, the Cresselia, Boom Bye Bye, the Electrode, Bree, the Golbat, Knackles, the Sandslash, Carlisle, the Exploud, Rar XD, the Aerodactyl, and Toss Me, the Dusclops. This is our squad for the ILCB, which should be starting soon. We're planning on starting next week. We're giving one coach who just kind of wasn't around because he was sick a week to formulate his draft and whatnot, figure out his team name and everything. And we're also going to give a week off as well so that people can begin prepping for their first week's matchup, which is going to be dope as hell. So, hypo. Hype is real. Let's get it. Let's get it, boys. Boys and girls, let's get it. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed, please make sure to leave me a like down below and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you guys think the Pittsburgh Popplios are going to be able to sweep this season and pick up that good old-fashioned W, please definitely subscribe and follow along. And with that, any further ado, I'm going to get out of here. Until next time, guys. I'm going to get out of here. Till next time, guys, I'm PokePrimer, signing off.